The people that speculate in my comments that it's going to turn out that Eva's not really Ted's daughter, trust me. They're writing Eva like she's Ted's daughter because she is as just as slow as him. She is kind of a big fool herself. What is up, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers? It is a Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. We've reached a Friday episode of the show. It was an okay episode overall. It was not a filler Friday, at least. I do feel like things happened, even if there was a couple of things I'm not really interested in. Some things did happen today. Let's begin with Shanice confronting Ted about the panties that she saw that Leslie planted in Ted's room. Ted, in his typical blank stare dumbness, was saying, I have no idea how they got there. He said they're not his, well, obviously. Shanice thought that they were Nicole's right when he was going to say it must have been Leslie. Ted tried to tell Shanice that Leslie must have planted the panties because she is so against this relationship with Shanice. He asked why she thought they were Nicole's, and Shanice said because of the way he was looking at Nicole when they were at the restaurant together. Shanice was trying to see if Ted really does still have this burning desire for Nicole, because that's what his face and what his eyes were saying at the restaurant. Ted, meanwhile, is certain that Leslie set him up here. Ted doesn't want Shanice to go for the night because they can still have a good night. He's telling Shanice, let's not let Leslie ruin our night. But Shanice says she's not even concerned about the panties. I don't think Shanice sees Leslie as a real threat to their relationship. I think Shanice sees that Ted was the one that was a dummy during this date night of theirs, and that's typical of him. She's saying that the vibe was off since they ran into Nicole at the restaurant, and Shanice says she's not going to be someone's consolation prize. So good for Shanice standing up for herself with this wannabe player fool named Ted. Ted just makes bad decisions, especially when it comes to Leslie. But I also do feel as though Ted once again was not taking responsibility for his own actions, and as the episode went along, he took out his frustrations on Leslie, which, yes, Leslie did try to mess up his night with Shanice because of the panties. But Ted didn't really help himself. Eva and Leslie started the episode together. And by the way, I don't have the time today to post screenshots from the episode like I usually try to. But Eva and Leslie were at the country club together. I did feel like they were trying to make Eva a bit of a caricature that she wanted to order fried chicken at the country club. If they're going to make Eva a caricature, I think they should do like others have said in my comments over the past few weeks and make her more street when it comes to her confrontations with Kat. There was one time she got in Kat's face pretty hardcore. She needs to do that more often if they're going to write Eva as a caricature. I just wish they would write Eva better, period. Today was kind of another example of something I've been complaining about with the Kat and Eva characters, that they are wasting the talent that these two actresses have by not giving them more storylines. They've been stuck in storylines that kind of revolve around each other. Yes, they are finally trying to move Eva on to a relationship with Isaiah, but who was the foil to that relationship for a few episodes lately? It was Kat, of course. So they can still do better there. Another thing is Leslie was upset that Ted is dating Shanice, and Eva's trying to say she only told Leslie to take a hint and move on. But when Ted came to the country club with the panties to confront Leslie about them, I just felt like Eva looked like such a dummy. Like, she was like, oh, mama, like, it's not a big deal. Like, she doesn't know that Leslie is off her rocker and going to do things every time you tell her something that she doesn't like. During this confrontation, Ted tried to tell Leslie point blank that he is not interested in her anymore, and it's never going to happen. And during that confrontation, Eva was trying to tell Ted to keep his voice down. But all I got from these scenes was, I guess, at least Ted finally had a real big confrontation with Leslie again, because it's been a while and he's been needing to do that for a long time now. But these scenes also made Eva look like a big dummy when it comes to her mother. Although, the people that speculate in my comments that it's going to turn out that Eva's not really Ted's daughter, trust me, they're writing Eva like she's Ted's daughter because she is just as slow as him. She is kind of a big fool herself. Isaiah started this episode with Dani to turn down her modeling job. Dani was hoping that it wasn't Eva's fault that he was turning things down, because Dani knows they're dating, and Dani does still feel like Eva and Leslie do damage to her family. But that was not why. Isaiah just wants to keep his job at Banneker. Once Isaiah was done with Dani, he met up with Eva, and Eva did rant about her mother and how Leslie's not handling Ted dating someone new well, and told Isaiah about how her mother planted panties in Ted's hotel room, and told Isaiah, well, it looks like you're dating someone from a crazy family, so I hope you can deal with that. Eva explained to Isaiah that she cannot cut Leslie out of her life because that is the person that raised her. And I don't blame Eva for that. I feel like the writing has been consistent with that Eva has this relationship with her mom. It's not exactly a healthy relationship, but it's a relationship that Leslie has caused because of her narcissism and because of her manipulation. I mean, we saw the early episodes when Leslie kicked Eva out of the house for a while because Eva didn't react to things the way that Leslie wanted her to. So there is this almost mental abuse that Leslie has done to Eva over the years, and I think they've done a good job of capturing why Eva is the way that she is with Leslie. But it would be nice for the character to evolve a little bit. Isaiah made an interesting point to me when he said that there are people in his life that were there for him when nobody else was, and he wouldn't turn on them, so he understands how Eva feels the way she does about Leslie. I believe Isaiah was referencing Joey there, and it gave me the thought that they need to maybe tie this Leslie and Joey rivalry brewing into this Eva and Isaiah relationship. I don't know how they will go about that, but I think it's a logical step they can take in the future that maybe causes problems for Isaiah and Eva because there's problems between Leslie and Joey. I think that could be good for all four characters involved. I would like to see it, but we'll see if they go there. Andre and Pamela had a talk today about some fashion designer that Andre ran into and got Dani a job modeling for. I'm going to say that for the first time in a very long time, the Andre and Dani scenes today annoyed me. And I think it's because Andre's just coming off like a simp after his last confrontation with Dani when he learned that Dani kissed Bill and just kind of let her gaslight him. I think it's actually kind of not great writing. And it's the first time in a while that they've kind of maybe dropped the ball in the Andre, Dani, Bill, and Haley storyline, because from what they've always tried to tell us is that Andre used to be this big old playboy. But from what they've always shown us, they write Andre like he's a simp. And I think to me, it's just a bigger problem with this show that I've talked about many a times and people talk about in the comments a lot, that they write the men bad and weak. And that's kind of what they did to Andre. Hopefully my mind changes going into next week. But I think they might have damaged Andre's character a little bit in that reaction to Dani telling him about Bill's kiss. Because he was just simping it up today. They're writing him as really naive. And it doesn't fit the character that they've always tried to tell us that Andre is, a.k.a. a playboy, and not a simp. But, they also wrote Andre like a simp for Ashley at times, too. Speaking of Ashley, of course Derek and Ashley had to run into each other today. to see how the other are doing, to guess correctly what the other were ordering. Derek learned that she was going to see Grayson again. He apologized for getting in Grayson's face and said he's not going to do that again. He's not going to disrupt their evening. Derek wants to fix their tension, but he tried to tell Ashley that there's something off with the guy, and he's trying to say it's not just jealousy. This could be the show either giving us another clue that Grayson is going to be the impaler, or at least involved with that shady business thing going on underground with the blood plasma. Or Derek's going to be wrong and Derek's going to look like the big fool again. My bet would actually be on the latter, because they love to just ruin that character to try and make Ashley happen. And they fail every single time they do that. But then at least Derek ran into Shanice. They comforted each other a little bit. Derek was asking about Grayson and everything she knows about him, because, they both work at the hospital. I like Derek and Shanice's friendship, actually. And I didn't mind most of this stuff with these characters today. Ashley and Grayson did have their night together. Ashley did unfortunately make me cringe per usual with the line about when Grayson said he's not always a good guy, and Ashley was like, I'm sick of being a good girl. I cringed very hard with that. But they're trying to make this Grayson thing interesting, and by proxy it almost makes Ashley interesting. Grayson and Ashley were starting to take each other's clothes off, but Grayson's phone was getting blowed up, so he had to see what it was. He had to stop their night and leave, and this made Ashley think back to Derek's words that Grayson is hiding something. So like I said, either Derek's going to be right and Grayson is going to be shady, or Derek's going to look like a big ol' idiot like usual. Lastly, Chelsea and Madison was definitely my least favorite part of today's episode, outside of the Andre and Dani modeling stuff and Andre being a simp. Chelsea once again is proposing to Madison. This is her way of fixing their relationship, I guess. It's been a very quick relationship for these two characters, which has made it hard for at least me and probably others to actually be invested in. When you're on an episode with Ashley and Derek and you are even more boring than Ashley and Derek, I think that's a problem. And that is how I found the Chelsea and Madison scenes today. It seems like they are going to be wild and spontaneous for Chelsea's sake, and they are going to get married. But it didn't really hit for me, and it happened to be our Friday cliffhanger, which isn't a great thing. But it happened, so that's where they are taking Chelsea and Madison. They just seem to be a couple that they just don't want to write for or have any good ideas for. And the thing they do every time is just make their relationship fast. That was today's episode. The preview for next week looks pretty good, and I did read something next week that makes me personally more excited, but we'll have to discuss that Sunday when I discuss next week's preview. But judging by the preview, we might have 2 fights, and that's a lot more than usual. So I think there is potential for next week to be a good week of February's sweeps. This week was just okay. I would say better than the first week of November sweeps, but I don't know if that's saying much. But I have faith that next week, at least a few episodes next week, look like they're going to be quite good. I hope.